showtime.
Hello, welcome to Did You Watch Survivor Last Night? My name is Jake Scheidel. This is a podcast about competition reality television shows and friendship, in which I ask my best friend, whose birthday it is today. Happy 25th birthday, Thomas. His name is Thomas Powell. I ask him if he did indeed watch a certain reality show. Hey, Thomas, how's it going? How's this birthday for you? It's good. I take it that it's good.
Jake, your time is up and my time is now.
I do love those 4 or 5 months that I am slightly older than you. Can't see you.
The audience can't see me as I am doing the you can't see me time.
Because this is an audio thing, but yeah. So we're talking about 2 shows today because Survivor's not on, The Challenge isn't on, and we need to make a decision. So Thomas, you hinted at it a little bit before, but I got a question for you. Did you watch American Grit last night?
Yes, I did. I did watch American Grit last night.
So we watched the first episode of that, which was called Ruck Up, which I thought was going to be was like a pun on something. I guess they were sucking up to the military, so I guess but I think it was just the name of the thing that they do.
Yeah, this is pretty crazy, like military hero worship, like literally half of.
Oh my god. The first shot of the show is sunlight bursting through a waving American flag. Before they introduce anything else in the show, before they say this is what the show is about, this is who's in the show, this is the host of the show, there's an American flag waving because America.
This is like, okay, this show is the physical manifestation of this tweet. This was a tweet that was sincerely sent by some sort of Republican account that was, am I crazy for thinking that if the troops wanted to, they could put together a football team and dominate the NFL?
Nope, you're wrong. You're wrong for thinking that.
No, that's the... Oh, by the way, the troops do have a football team. It's Army University, and nobody can be over, like, 260 pounds, and they lose to any, like, actual NCAA teams. But anyway, no, this is... that tweet, the show.
That tweet, the show. It's annoying. Like, I mean, you gotta respect the military as an American.
I mean,
and all
I don't
like,
have to, but sure.
I mean, you don't have to, but like, it's polite. And I have nothing against anybody who comes from a military family or is in the military at all.
Individually, I have no problem with people that are in the military.
Shut the fuck
yeah, as an institution, it's a completely different thing for me. But like, if someone wants to do that, sure.
Yeah, cool. But like, the military is not 5 seconds of summer. Like, you don't need to fangirl over this thing.
I don't get that. Like, this idea that it's so patriotic that, like, every troop is the bravest person on Earth.
Right? Like, there's other jobs that people do here that are good American jobs. Like, what about coal miners? That's a thing, right?
It's all...
People still mine coal.
It's all fucking lip service, too. Like, if we really cared that much about people in the armed forces, we would pay them a lot more than we do.
Yeah. But no, we don't. I feel like we as a country felt so bad after like shitting on individual soldiers after Vietnam that we're like went the other way completely and are like, no, now you're the best person. Which, granted, like, yeah, like they have a hard job and they are putting their lives on the line, but also, and then it's not to take anything away from them, but John Cena, can you shut the fuck up? You weren't even in the military. You were in a movie called The Marine.
Yeah.
Which, granted, I've never seen, but...
No,
I don't even
John
know
Cena
if he...
was a competitive bodybuilder. He has never served in the armed forces.
Yeah. So the first thing that happens in the show after the American flag is we're introduced to the four coaches. There's Rourke Denver, who says his job is to hunt evil.
Also, Rourke Denver just sounds like a name in like a bad, like in like a Delta Force style movie, like a Chuck Norris movie. Like Chuck Norris is Rourke Denver.
Then there's T. Henna, Nick Irving, a.k.a. The Reaper, and Noah Galloway, who lost his left arm and leg in a Humvee explosion in Iraq.
And he looks a lot like Garrett Dillahunt.
I don't know who that is.
He was on... Oh, what was that Fox sitcom where the... I think he might have been like slightly autistic or something, but he had a baby, and it was just like him and his family raising that baby.
Oh, was this on recently?
Yeah.
Was it connected to My Name Is Earl somehow?
It might have been, but anyway.
Is it called Baby's Home? Was it called the Babies in the Carriage? Was it called Saving Grace? Hoping Grace?
I think it was Hoping Grace.
Hope and Faith.
No.
It was Hope and Faith.
Anyway, yeah, Garrett Dillahunt. Look him up. Do it.
Okay.
He was in No Country for Old Men. Raising Hope, by the way, is the name of that show.
Raising Hope, not Faith and Hope. That was a different show with Kelly Ripa.
Hope and Faith had Kelly Ripa and somebody else. Yeah.
Yep. The other blonde woman that my mom likes. So each coach picks 4 people from a group of 16. All 16 of these people have some sort of military connection, but none of them have ever served in the military themselves. The only way to lose is to give up, ring out, and go home. They say that a lot. Those are words they like to say a lot because it's something they do in the military, I think.
This is also the most athletic group I've seen on this type of show. There's an Olympic medalist that's just hanging out here.
Yeah. There's a former NFL player.
I looked up the Olympic medalist is still only 31, whereas the NFL guy is 40. But he won in a gold in like 700 meter relay, and he won bronze in like 400 meter or something like that, like an individual one. So he's a good athlete.
This is a good show to watch right now because the Olympics are in session. Granted, they won't be by the time we get to Survivor, but for this week at least, the Olympics, America, woohoo, gold medal.
Yeah. Keep swimming fast through all that fart water.
Yeah, it's not the best Olympics, but people are excited about it.
The only thing I particularly care about with the Olympics is the men's basketball. Women's basketball a little bit too. Also handball. Handball's great.
I haven't watched any handball, but I've seen you talking about it on Twitter. I'm like, I'm very interested.
Women's handball is one of the great hidden gems of sports.
Yeah? Okay. I'll watch a game or two, or 5 minutes of one, and see how I like it. So at the end of the show, one team will win up to $1 million. Here's one thing about this show. They don't really explain anything beforehand. It's all, like, after the fact, like... Oh, like, the prize is $1 million. But then you're going to be eliminated. How are we eliminated? We'll get to that when we get to the elimination. Like, I don't know. It's just very confusingly edited.
Yeah. You're on a need-to-know basis right now, soldier. We're not going to tell you how people get eliminated just yet.
So then we kind of are introduced to all of the contestants. They walk up to the meeting spot in the woods, and John Cena says, "Welcome to the wilderness." Top-notch quote there, John Cena. Love it. One of the contestants is really excited that John Cena is there. I wonder, like, did they tell him beforehand that John Cena was going to be hosting? Or were they just like, all right, you're on this show now?
Okay, that was Cam, and Cam is a wrestler on the independent circuit, so that's probably why he was so excited. But he is very excited. Yeah. He's like, oh my god, it's John Cena.
He was as excited to see John Cena as John Cena is to see literally any soldier.
Just delighted.
So, apparently, throughout the day, Cena and the 4 coaches put all the contestants through a series of like challenges and obstacles throughout the day, and watch them do these challenges. Again, they told us this after they introduced all of the contestants. Like, that seems like you could have gotten a lot of footage from that and be like, "Oh, we're scoping them out, seeing who's good."
Just using like a couple flashbacks to it. Why not do an episode of that? American Grit.
Yeah, that seems like something that would be good, and then we, as the viewer, can form an opinion on each of these people.
No, Jake, this is a Fox reality show. That's not an option.
Fox is particularly bad at making reality shows.
They have the most insulting editing, I think, of any channel for the reality programming.
I would say ABC is really bad, but they also have the Bachelor franchise, which is like an unstoppable force. Fox is particularly like what long-standing reality show has come out of Fox in the last 15
Hell's
years?
Kitchen and
true.
Other Gordon Ramsay ones. Your Kitchen Nightmares, your Hotel Hell, I think he has going right now.
Yeah, I think The Simple Life was on Fox also, which was a big deal when it came out. But
Joe Millionaire.
Like, in the last, was Joe Millionaire Fox?
Was Fox.
Okay. I was just thinking of like was it last summer or 2 summers ago they did that show Utopia? Do you remember that show?
Was that the one that was all children?
No, that was Kid Nation. That was CBS, and I really want to, dude. Next time there's a break between shows, we got to do Kid Nation. I think it's really hard to find.
Why are we watching American Grit? Now I just want to watch Kid Nation.
Anytime Kid Nation comes up, I'm like, let's watch. I want to watch the show. I never watched it because it got a lot. It was very controversial when it came out, but not for reasons you would expect. It was controversial because like the producers would like give lines to the kids, and because they did that, they're technically actors, not subjects or something. So there was like financial issues with that, and that's why there was so much controversy. But people just assumed it was like, oh, kids on a reality show, so much controversy. But now every show has a kids version. There's Kids Hell Kitchen, Kids The Voice,
Project
Kids So You Think You Can Dance.
I wish so much was just the same judges and using the same criteria. So it's just like Michael Kors ripping an 11-year-old a new asshole.
What, are the judges also kids?
No, but I think they're just like nicer.
Oh, I would love a show like that just takes the children of the actual judges and makes them the judges and like dresses them in the exact same way as their parents. Just
this super catty like 12-year-old kid of Michael Kors. Like, I don't know what you were thinking here.
Some of the other contestants on American Grit are Dude. That's what I wrote in my notes. He is a cop who caught the Boston bomber.
I believe that guy's name is Jim.
Jim. Okay, yeah. And there's Tabitha, a.k.a. Goldie. She is a mom.
My girl right there. As soon as they mentioned that she does roller derby, I just went, oh, hell yeah!
Yeah. Roller derby is cool. Roller derby people, like every person I've met who does roller derby is like the nicest person in the world.
They've got an outlet for all their rage.
True. There's Mark, who's a lumberjack. There's Cam, who's the wrestler who was excited to see Cena. Tony is a former NFL player. And Lisa, who's a mom who wants to be the Rocky for moms. And that's all the intros we get when they are first introduced.
Lisa's a bodybuilder, too.
Oh, okay. And then I guess the coaches all go in and, like, talk about who they want to pick. Like, this should have been a schoolyard pick, dudes. Like, be better at producing a reality show. You just had a cordial discussion about who you wanted.
Schoolyard pick? It's crazy. Also, they just don't. they obviously don't have enough information yet, but supposedly they've done research on people, and none of the first 4 picks were that Olympic gold medalist. Like, what are you doing?
Well, he got bronze.
Well,
so.
he also got gold.
But he got bronze.
Yeah, he's got
so
2 medals.
if he was really good, if he wanted to be picked first, he should have gotten first.
He's
every
proven
time.
that as a member of a team, he is a gold medalist.
Yeah. Well, he also has a bronze, so that's like last place in the Olympics.
Sure.
Then they go into the house, and a contestant named Maria, who didn't get any sort of introduction, reveals that she's the No Excuses mom. Do you remember this? It was like a poster, and it was like she was really fit, and then she had like her 3 kids there with her, and she was like, "What's your excuse for not working out?"
Yeah, like it was like I look like this, and I've had a bunch of kids, and I lost all that weight. What's your excuse?
I don't know, Maria. Maybe I don't want to work out.
Oh, there was also a production error where the first time they showed her in a talking head, it said she was 23. And then the next time it was 33.
She's 33?
Yeah, so it was like, holy shit, she's had a lot of kids very early.
They just filmed this over 10 years. it's the
like
boyhood of reality
it's
shows.
It's an incredible accomplishment.
So then they go to the evolution, which is what they call the challenges, because it's the military. The evolution is called Ruck Up.
And all of your favorite members of Evolution are there. The Nature Boy Ric Flair, Triple H is in the mix, Batista's there, Randy Orton. Randy Orton RKO's somebody out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. It's great.
And then Seth Rollins comes up with a chair and beats his friends up and joins Evolution, and it's like, what is going on?
Crazy.
Remember when that happened? That was pretty crazy. They like to remind us of that a lot as the viewer, and it's like, oh yeah, he did that. That was really mean. That's one thing I was afraid of watching this show is like, there's going to be a lot of wrestling talk. Well, since it's hosted by John Cena and Cam, apparently. Do you think we'll see Cam in a couple of years on the WWE roster?
Probably not, but from what I could tell, he's young enough. I think he's only like 20. He's like 21 or 20. I think he's 22 now because I looked him up on Twitter.
Okay.
I'm sure this will help him get booking a little bit on the independent circuit, but you know, I guess like WWE is expanding. They're going after smaller people now because they've got. Seems like they care about their cruiserweight division. So, all right, let's.
Oh yeah, they're doing a whole thing.
Yeah,
with
it's
that.
great. Let's not go any further than that.
Yeah. So for the evolution, they have to pick up a log, run 3 miles, go through some obstacles. All the while, the log can't touch the ground.
They got to work as a team to make sure it doesn't touch the ground.
It's a team effort, just like the military. The winning team is safe. They don't have to lose anybody. How a team loses someone, I don't know. We'll figure that out when we get to it. Chris says that he could take the whole 120-pound log by himself, and Goldie tells him it's a team. See? Okay, yeah, I see why you like Goldie now, because you guys are all about the team.
All about that team.
All about that team. That team.
One thing that I thought was kind of funny about this show is just the fact that the team leaders cannot compare anything. Like, they cannot use anything but, like, their military service as a point of record, like the sniper or whatever. Whenever anyone would fail or anything like that, he would just always be like, well, you know, sometimes I'd miss shots and I beat myself up for it. He said it like 4 times, and it's like, so this is like that.
How do you miss? I feel like if you're a sniper, like
sometimes you're shooting people from like a mile away.
Get a better gun, man. This is the military. No fuck ups. That's their slogan, right? One time I was at, okay, so, you know Celebration, the big one, Celebration Cinemas? The one with the, like, big thing. There's a Marine post there or something. Maybe it's Army. I don't know. But one time I was walking past, and I was like, 16 or 17, and this dude comes up and is like, is standing in front of the door and is like, "Hey man, you ever thought about joining the military?" And I was like, no, I can't. I have diabetes. And he was like, "Oh, okay. Is that? I don't know if that's a problem." And I was like, "No, I think it is." And I just ran away. I don't want to do this. Please stop talking to me.
I have to go. Diabetes things to attend to. Bye.
It's diabetes o'clock. I need to go do that.
I have a diabetes in the oven. But I have to go.
It's gonna burn. Bite. So Noah's team drops the log on the first obstacle. Cena tells them to take their punishment, which is running in place. And then they have to, they go on the hike, and they make up all the time they lost, and end up taking first place, and they win. So the 3 losing teams must send one person to the circus. What's the circus, you might ask? The first person to quit is out. What's the circus? I don't know. They'll explain that when we get to that part of the show. And there's some stuff in the house. Lisa tells a story. Have we talked about Lisa? Oh, yeah, she's the mom of Rocky's. The Rocky of moms. Lisa tells a story about how her mom got cancer and she emotionally ate because she was so upset until her husband said, "Lisa, I will always love you, but I am not attracted to you right now." What a cool thing to say to somebody. Yeah. Isn't that a really neat thing to say to your wife?
Husband.
Yeah, super cool dude. And then she promptly divorced him and never talked to him again. Probably not. Meanwhile, Chris is posing, but insists he's just standing there, and Maria calls him out. And then talks about
Chris is like, this
all
is
the
just my body
covers she's done. This is just what I look like. Sorry, I'm sexy. He's the worst. So Chris is talking to somebody else about this fight they had and says, this was actually pretty funny. He says, "What in the wide world of sports makes her so insecure about me?" That was a pretty good quote. I want to start saying that. What in the wide world of sports?
It was that conversation between him and Maria was just unbearable because it was 2 just heinous people.
Yeah. I expected them to be like, "All right, you guys are going in the circus against each other," but that's not how it worked out. Maria's complaining about Chris, and she says he is the epitome of what is wrong with fitness in America.
As Tabitha just looks like she wants to knock her out. They keep cutting to talking to her, being like, "I do not have the patience for this."
Rourke doesn't know who to send into the circus from his team. Maria suggests they send in Jim because he's been feeling down since they lost the Evolution. John Cena has lunch with the winning team, which I gotta say, that's a pretty decent prize for taking first.
Steak, they do a shot of whiskey.
Yeah, because the military.
Men!
Chris tells T that he doesn't trust her. Yeah. Then they go into the circus. Nick sends in Jim. T sends in Chris. And Chris shouts at Jim, who is 30 years older than him, and shoves him in the chest because, super cool. And Rourke sends in Goldie. Everybody expects Goldie's going to be out because she's the oldest. She's not the oldest. Jim's the oldest. But she's a mom, so people don't expect a lot from her. Then they cut to a talking head with John Cena, which is a weird thing because hosts generally don't have talking heads in shows like this. But it's John Cena, so...
Well, this show has 30 hosts, so...
That's true. Goldie tells a story to John Cena about her sister who died. And then, Cena meets up with everybody who's going into the circus before they go in. And he says to Chris, "Your character may be in question. You owe T an apology."
He did straight. I don't think we really highlighted this that much, but he straight up was just saying like the direction was bad. Like our coach doesn't know what she's talking about. This thing that she wanted us to do is physically impossible, and just talked shit about her constantly. And then like to her face was like, I think your leadership is bad.
Yeah. Which she didn't take too kindly to. That's why she sent him in. So they have to run an obstacle course and then hold a sandbag for as long as possible. First one to drop the sandbag loses. Chris wins the obstacle course, so he gets to rest briefly before the sandbag holding part. He's very confident and shows off as Jim and Goldie just kind of stand there not moving. Eventually his hand begins twisting and Christopher drops the bag and is out.
Yeah, and he was showboating like the whole time.
Yeah, that's what you get. So what'd you think of the first episode of American Grit?
You know, I watched it.
Yep, I feel you. Hey, Thomas.
Yeah, you got another question for me?
I got another question for you. Did you watch The Sex Factor last night?
Does she walk? Does she talk? Does she come complete? My homeroom angel always cooking for my seat.
Sure did.
Yeah, that's a show that exists. When I tell people about this show, they're like, "Oh, what network is that on?" And I'm like, "It's on a website called X Hamster. Maybe you've heard of it."
It's on None Network because it's hardcore pornography.
Yeah. The first episode was called Battle of the Sexes, which, granted, fine title for what the show is. I get it. So if you don't know what this show is about, 8 men and 8 women who have never shot porn compete for $1 million and a contract to do porn because porn is really hard to get into, apparently.
Actually, that's wrong, Jake. It's Sex Fact or. So it's actually a trivia game show where you're presented with something that is ostensibly a sex fact, but maybe it isn't.
Oh, so it's like the human penis is 10 feet long. Sex fact or no?
Yeah, it's like our other game show idea, Ripley's Believe It or Don't, which is...
There's ghosts in here. I don't believe it. You did it! I don't know why we didn't send that. You know what? Fox is desperate for some good reality shows. I think we should send them the idea for Ripley's Believe It or Don't.
It can be yours for $850,000.
Yeah, that's nothing. You're giving $1 million to these kids who are running the military races. Yeah, it's easy to make. Do you remember the show that Ripley's Believe It or Not did?
Vaguely.
Me too. I remember the guy who hosted it had very hair.
He had very hair.
Yeah, like it was very concrete in its shape. It was very much like, this is
like
my hair.
It was like an action figure's hair.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, about all this sex.
But it was spooky. It was real spooky. Okay. Asa Akira hosts the show. I don't know who that is, but apparently she's a big deal.
Lexi Bell. Asa Akira's a big enough deal that she was a guest on the Eric Andre show once. Yeah.
Oh, yeah? I'll need to watch that, since I'm so into this show now. They show a promo for the rest of the season. And at the beginning of the promo, there's a little subtitle that says, "Coming Up," and it's spelled how you would expect it to be spelled on a show like this.
It's so raunchy.
Oh my God, can you even believe it? There's judges. One of the judges is the host of the show because they don't want to spend too much money.
Got stern British man, as all of these require.
His name is Kieran Lee. There's also Remy LaCroix, which you're drinking some LaCroix right now. So Kira, Lexi Bell, and Tori Black. They're all, I assume, fine at their job, right? I've heard of some of them.
They're at the top of their profession.
Yeah. The judges tell the contestants of the 3 P's of porn. Which seems like something they invented for this show.
I don't think that's a real thing.
So there's presence, performance, and potential. Yep. Which this show certainly has one of those. Do you know which one it is?
Potential.
Potential. Porn-tential.
Hey!
There we go. So then we're introduced to the contestants. Which, I gotta say, if we're having them face off, Sex Factory versus American Grit, Sex Factory did a better job introducing all of its contestants than American Grit.
Did.
So every person has a name and a weird, funny, sexy fact about them. And they're all so great. There's Donnie Rock. Probably his Christian name. He loves to come on girls' faces. Cool. Barry Newport loves fucking on
sailboats. I was on board the minute that guy... I think it was all downhill after that. That was the high point of the episode.
Definitely. David Caspian has only had sex with 3 women. A lot of dogs, though. It was a really dumb joke. I'm sorry. Then there's Buddy Holliday. Nope, Buddy Hollywood.
He's had sex with over 100 women.
Yeah, 0 dogs.
Yeah, he's not about that. Yes.
Sonny Keegan. Oh, that's what the finale is. Like, oh, you did anal. Now it's time for bestiality.
Buddy Hollywood's plan is once he's had sex with all of the women in the world, then he's moving on to dogs.
Yeah, he's like, it's like Buddy Hollywood is like he's a Noah's Ark of sex men. He just wants to get one of every species.
An true Buddy Hollywood story.
Then there's Sonny Keegan, who loves eating pussy. That seems like a...
That's the guy from Detroit.
Like, that's the one thing you could think of.
Where they show a promo where he's like, I'm going to try to suck my own dick.
You got to take out your ribs for that.
Like Marilyn Manson definitely did.
Yeah. That's the craziest thing, is that everybody learned that in middle school. No matter where in the country you're from, everybody heard that.
Yeah, the same stupid apocryphal stories all circled around. Like, did you know, there were always, I think there were like 50 variations of this, but did you know Steve from Blue's Clues died? That's why he's not on the show?
No, he didn't. He committed suicide. No, he didn't. He started a rock band.
Like he went to go play.
And they're pretty good, actually.
Music. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Sonny Keegan is from Michigan, so I feel like we have to.
I'm not rooting for him. I have to root for a sailboat fucker.
Barry Newport, that's his name. Then there's
Barry Newport's never had a real fuck in his life.
There's Hero D Protagonist, which was the first time I realized that these names aren't their real names.
Really?
Like, I wasn't paying attention that closely.
So you were like, yes, Buddy Hollywood is this man's Christian name.
I mean, it's possible. But then Hero D Protagonist, and I went through the rest of them, and I was like, oh yeah, no, none of these are real names. This makes sense. Hero D Protagonist is here to save the day. Again, not super clever. These people aren't very clever. The Colonel is here to be a leader in porn.
The Colonel is a former contestant on Beauty and the Geek.
Favorite show of mine. Johnny Black, a final man, loves threesomes. Good one. He's also 19. How many threesomes have you had, 19-year-old? I feel like that's later in life. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, Jake. Maybe you're just behind. You know, maybe
I am.
He's like an achiever. This is someone who achieves from an early age.
Apparently. Then there's the women. There's Blair Williams, who wants to be the Miss Congeniality of porn.
That's a good intro.
Yeah.
Also, isn't she a preschool teacher at a Christian school or something?
I don't know. Did they mention
they said
that?
Something like that.
Okay. There's Kaylin Blake, who masturbates for a living. I don't know what that
she's
means because you
she's
can't.
probably a cam girl.
So that doesn't go against the I've never done porn thing.
I guess it's not really technically porn. It is, but it's like it's not like the porn that they're doing.
Well, I don't like it. Get her out of here.
Disqualified.
Adrian Lee Ray loves being choked. There's Kaya Peak, who is British, I believe. She loves golden showers.
Yeah,
nope.
I think they were getting. I was like, oh yeah, cool, okay, cool.
Nope, nobody
We're
loves
getting
that.
to this part.
Veronica Vane is the Wall Street porn star. Sydney Gilmore loves cream pies. Again, nope. No, you don't.
Cream pies. Big fan of Little Debbie's.
There's Danny Darko. Do you get it? And she loves to be gangbanged. And then there's L. Eve Knox, who has only had sex with 4 people, which is more like you can't use that like I haven't had sex with a lot of people thing for fewer than like she's had more than the other guy.
She should have known.
Like they should have given her something else.
Go
Like,
small or go.
I love. Like they couldn't have picked one person who's like I'm a virgin. Like that would have been. Good.
I don't think that anybody who's a virgin would want to do porn. Maybe someone does.
I would think so. I mean, there's a lot of people in the world.
Yeah,
it's probably somebody. So then they all go and get tested for STDs because apparently in porn you have to be tested for STDs every 14 days. So I'm glad they put that in. That was good.
It's important.
Back at the house, there's a party. And then Buddy and Blair end up fucking in the shower. Cool. Because it's a sex house. They have sex in this house.
Yeah, this is like it's weird to have, you know, on the challenge people will hook up and stuff like that, but it's weird to just be like, oh yeah, here's them fucking.
Here's what it looks like when 2 people fuck.
Here is an interview with one of the contestants where ejaculate is hanging off of her chin.
It's interesting because you're not going in thinking, oh, I'm gonna fucking jerk it to this.
Speak for yourself.
I was really afraid of that I would get really hard watching this. I didn't. It was.
I texted you while I was watching it, and I was just like, and it's also tough to watch because I'm so hard. Oh,
oh yeah. But yeah, it's like what you were saying about like people hooking up on the challenge. Like usually they kind of hint at it, or like show you afterwards. But with this, it's just like, all right, we're gonna follow them into the bathroom and show you everything.
It's all just so clinical too. Like it's just weird.
So then they get to the challenge. The challenge is a battle of the sexes, which is also the name of the episode. So. Good on you, Sex Factor. There's 3 stages. Whoever wins more gets to eliminate somebody from the other sex. The first stage is making out. Buddy and Blair make out first, and it's very physical. Blair says that instead of focusing on the passion, she focused on beating him. That's not what making out's about, Blair. So Lexi Bell goes up to make out with Blair, and they do a great job. Great job, guys. So the chicks, it was chicks versus dicks. They get the first point, the chicks. Sonny and Danny are paired. Sonny wins. David and Sydney are paired. Sydney wins. So the chicks win the first stage.
Oh, yeah.
And then in the middle of this, there's a segment of talking heads and clips about how weird David Caspian is.
Oh, yeah, we'll just like masturbate around the house in front of people.
Yeah. Yeah, he apparently called a sex line and jerked off in the bathtub. Which, what? Why would you do that? There's people here who are solely here to fuck. You could have just fucked them. Like, what? What are you doing, David Caspian? Also, weird of the show to have this in the middle of the challenge. This seems like something that they should have done. You know what I mean? Like, this is an entirely different segment of the show. Like, watch one reality show and figure out how to edit a show together.
Didn't he tell a story about how he had masturbated in public or something like that?
Oh, did he? I don't know. He talked about, like, how he's totally free to do this here. Because it's a sex house. But what do you... Like, yeah, you're free to do that, but also, like, don't.
Like a real creepo guy.
Yeah. So stage 2, doing a fake orgasm. The first pairing is Hero and Kaya. Kaya wins. Veronica and Barry go next. Barry wins. And then it's the Colonel versus Adrian. Adrian reveals that she's never had an orgasm with somebody else, so faking one in front of all these people makes her uncomfortable. So she's disqualified, and the Colonel wins. Dicks win the second stage. I didn't expect that at all. But, you know, Adrian didn't come through, so...
It's no place for quitters. Jeff Probst would be ashamed.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine if Jeff Probst hosted this show?
I don't want to put myself in that headspace.
I don't even know how he would react. Stage 3 is the blowjob stage. We've all been waiting for it. We're all like, when is the blowjobs coming?
Champing at the bit for this one.
Like, I know there's going to be some blowies. I want to see them. So if the guys come in 3 minutes, the girls win. If not, the guys win. The first blowjob is worth 25 points. It's Donnie versus Allie. Donnie wins. The second is the Colonel versus Kaya. And the Colonel wins. That one was worth 50 points. The third one is worth 100 points. And it's our public masturbator, Caspian, versus Blair, the preschool teacher. Guess who wins?
Blair.
It's Blair. It's Blair.
And
Blair
they
wins.
also have a really... I was dying laughing. Right when he's about to orgasm, they... in slow motion, cut to everyone reacting like...
Ooh.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I had a hard time developing an opinion on this show. There were parts of it that I was like, this is a good time. And then there were other parts that I was like, why am I watching this? Yeah, please stop with that. So, chicks win the third stage. They all want David Caspian gone. They go to vote, and the judges read the votes. They, like, pass the bowl down the 5 judges, and each one reads 2 of them. It's the weirdest...
This looks very unprofessional. Compared to...
The whole show looks unprofessional.
Compared to the way that Survivor does the voting, not even close.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like they filmed this all in, like, a day. It was probably longer than 1 day, but they were just like, what's the easiest way we can do this? Which, I don't know. You're putting $1 million on the line? Like, put some production value into it, you know? So they read the votes. Caspian, Donnie, Caspian, Sonny, Donnie, Caspian, Donnie, Caspian. I don't know why Donnie got so many votes.
Why were they shitting on Donnie? What did he do?
I don't know. Which one is Donnie again? Donnie Rock. What was his thing? Donnie Rock loves to come on girls' faces. Yeah. So Caspian's out. He says, I'm not giving up. This is not the end for me. But Caspian, it is. It is the end.
He cries a lot.
This is the end, starring all those guys you like. And also David Caspian.
This is the end from the guys who brought you. This is the end.
So they tell David Caspian, you do not have the sex factor. Do you think they worked hard on coming up with that tagline?
I bet they did. Guys,
clearly sex is not a factor for you.
We're not leaving this room until we've got a good closing line. And I'm prepared to be here all night. Nobody leaves.
Mm-hmm. What if we say the fear factor thing, but say sex instead of fear? That works. Got it in one. So Caspian starts crying and leaves, and Kieran Lee follows him out and says, man up, keep your dick hard. Great. Great line from a great
Thanks,
man. All right, so now we've come to the most important part of this show. What are we watching next week? Are we sticking with American Grit, or are we sticking with The Sex Factor?
We can't do Sex Factor. We just can't.
Well, see, if we did Sex Factor, each episode would be like 10 minutes long of our show, which would be nice. But also, I feel like we would get really tired of it really quickly.
No, this is not the quality or quantity of content we want to be providing here.
Yeah, that's true. But, like, imagine how many dick jokes we could make. Like, so many dick jokes.
What dick jokes are we going to make that the show's not making, though? Like, it's just exhausting to even talk about. I don't want to talk about any of the details. I just want to be as vague about it as possible.
Fair enough. All right. So we're sticking with American Grit. We'll watch the next 2 episodes. Do you want to do 2 episodes this week or 3? Because we got to get through this before Survivor starts up again.
I mean, do we have? We don't have to do anything.
That's true. We don't have to, but we should.
I'm sure. Let's just watch 2. We'll watch 2 episodes.
We'll do 2 episodes. And then we kind of talked about it beforehand. If there's ever a week that Survivor or the challenge takes off, we'll watch episode 2 of the Sex Factor and just discuss that. Just see what's going on with Blair and Sonny and the Colonel.
Sailboat fucker.
Do you think he came up with the name the Colonel first, or do you think he was like, I love fucking on sailboats, they should call me the Colonel?
The Colonel's not the sailboat fucker.
Who's the sailboat fucker?
It was the second guy. You have it in your notes.
I've got it right here. Oh, Barry Newport.
Yeah, Barry Newport.
Yes. So we'll talk about them whenever we get a chance. American Grit, episodes 2 and 3 for the next week. It's going to be a good one. And then September 21st, Survivor comes back. So we're going to be talking about some millennials, some Gen Xers. They're going to have fist fights. They're going to starve. One of them's going to win $1 million and do porn.
Talking about my generation.
Yeah. So that's our show. This was weird. It wasn't either of the usual shows we talk about.
It was weird talking about 2 shows at length, and it was weird talking about, shows that are pretty different from what we're used to.
Yeah. And shows that aren't currently airing.
Yeah, that too.
That's another weird part of it. So I have another podcast. It's called the Crash Test Podcast. New episodes out every Thursday. It's very fun, very funny. We play video games, and then we talk about our dicks. Nope. We have a Twitter for this show called DYWSLN. My Twitter is Jake Scheidel.
Mine is Thom, not Tom. It's my birthday. You should follow me.
It's Thomas's birthday, so follow him and wish him a happy birthday. We're also on Facebook. Did you watch Survivor last night? And our email is Did you watch last night? See, there's no show name in that because 1, it was too long. 2, the show changes every once in a while. So, did you watch last night at gmail.com? Email us with anything you want to tell us. And remember to sign out your pal, Jeff Probst, all of our best pals. All right, I think that's all of the things to say. Is that all of the words?
I think so.
Is that all the words we got?
So.
All right. Well then, Thomas, happy birthday. I hope you have a killer time on your birthday.
Jake, I hope that you have a great summer.
Deuces.
Kid sensation at home away from home in the black Benz limo with a cellular phone. I'm calling up the posse, it's time to get to ripping. I freaking each sunroof to keep you suckers tripping. Everybody's looking, if you're jealous turn around. The AMG kick keeps us closer to the ground. We're getting good grip from the 50 series tires. The Alpine's bumping, but I need the volume higher. Cause the 808 kick drum makes the girlies get dumb. We're rolling Rainier and the jealous wanna get some. Every time we do this, sucker MCs wanna battle. I'm the man they love to hate, the J.R. Ewing of Seattle. Picked up the posse on 23rd and Jackson, heading for the strip. Yes, we're looking for some action. The limo's kinda crowded, the whole car was leaning back. Maharaji's watching TV with two girlies on his lap. On Martin Luther King, the set looks kinda dead. We need a new street, so posse move ahead. We all look kinda suave, the crew you can't forget. The Mix-a-Lot posse, Cole ripping up the set.
My posse's on Broadway. My posse's on Broadway.
Posse up.
My posse's on Broadway. My posse's on Broadway.
Rolling in my posse was getting kinda bored. There's not another posse with more points scored. We don't walk around like criminals or flex like big gorillas. My homeboy Kid Sensation is the teenage lady killer. Maharaji's on the deaf side, dancing like a freak. The girlies see his booty and their knees get weak. Larry is the white guy, people think he's funny. A real estate investor who makes a lot of money. Clocking lots of dollars, we all got gold. Cruising in his Benz and ain't got no place to go. Well, in 23rd, we saw nothing but thugs. The girlies was too skinny from smoking all them drugs. Cause the rock man got them and their butts just dropped. The freaks look depressed because our Benz won't stop. At 23rd and Union, the driver broke left. Kevin shouted, Broadway, it's time to get deaf. My girl blew me a kiss. She said I was the best. She's looking mighty freaky in a black silk dress. The closer that we get, the crazier I feel. My posse's on Broadway, it's time to get ill.
My posse's on Broadway. My posse's on Broadway.
Posse up. Cruising Broadway and my wheels spinning slow. Rolling with your posse is the only way to go. The girlies by the college was looking for a ride. We tried to pick them up, but we had no room inside. We put them on the trunk, we put them on the hood. Some sat up with the driver, they made him feel good. The posse's getting bigger, there's much too many freaks. My muffler's dragging, my suspension's getting weak. Now the freaks are getting hungry and Mix-a-Lot streeting. We stopped at Taco Bell for some Mexican eating, but Taco Bell was closed, the girls was on my tip. They said, go back the other way, we'll stop and eat at Dick's. Dick's is the place where the cool hang out. The swats like to play and the rich flaunt clout. Posse to the burger stand so big we walk in twos. We're getting dirty looks from those other sucker crews. Kid Sensation dropped a 20 and didn't even miss a skeezer from another crew. She picked it up and kicked it. Her boyfriend's illin', he went to slap her face. My homeboy PLB, Cole sprayed the boy with mace. Cause I never liked a punk who beat up on his girl. If you don't have game, then let her leave your world. We took his girl with us, with him she rode the bus. She gave the boy the finger and the sucker starts to cuss. Boy, I got a deaf posse, you got a bunch of dudes. You broke cold crying about the rock man blues. You beat up on your girl and now you're all upset. She's with the Mix-a-Lot posse on the Broadway set.
My posse's on Broadway. My posse's on Broadway.
Yeah, buddy, you know what it is. The posse's on Broadway. 5 fellas and 22 freaks. You know what I'm saying?